Hey there, this is Christy Matthews, ChristyMatthewsOnline.com, ChristyJMatthews.com. Hope you're having a great day. So got a question for you. What's the key to self-confidence? Let's ask, what is self-confidence first? I've got my notes here. Of course, I've got to have it. It's the ability and belief to believe in yourself to accomplish any task, no matter how difficult it is or what adversity you'll be facing, okay? It's just the confidence that you're going to get it done. It's a skill, and without it, we're done for. We're useless. But the nice thing is that it's called a skill because we can train ourselves to have it. In fact, those who have a lack of self-confidence have also trained themselves to be that way as well. Has to do with neuroplasticity, the things that we're thinking about, the wiring and the firing that goes on in our brains. So it's called a skill, or I should say self-confidence is called a skill. And the way to build it is repetition, repetition, repetition. And there is no easy button. It's just repetition, repetition, repetition. That's it. And when you think about it, it's not difficult, but it is. It's just one of those things that it takes some grit. It takes some determination on ourselves. Let's think about the best athletes that are out there. Doesn't matter what sport it is. I'm thinking of Stephen Curry right now of the Golden State Warriors. He practices 100 half-court shots, I believe, every game as a warm-up. That is why he makes so many three-point shots. I mean, it's just amazing to see him make those from the half court. Brett Favre used to, with the Green Bay Packers, he was just, hey, Kim, good to see you. Brett Favre threw, laser shots in the most difficult situations. He was able to squirm out of being tackled and make his target, make some amazing throws because he was known to practice throwing footballs through tires hanging off a tree. Tiger Woods, look at him. Yes, he's had some major comeback now, but wow, when he hit the circuit in the golf world, why was he so successful? And the reason for his comeback now is repetition, repetition, repetition. He practices his tee shots, his chip shots over and over again. It's hours and hours of practice. So we expect to be self-confident, but we can't unless the task we're doing doesn't seem like it's new to us. It's the only way self-confidence comes about. Whenever we're doing something new, we're always checking ourselves. And gosh, I know for myself, I go right down the directions. Did I do this? Check. Yep. Did I do this? Check. And until it becomes second nature to me. So we're all like that. And pressure builds diamonds. So what we want to do is to make us feel like we've done this thing 1,000 times before. But how do we get that practice and that confidence? Repetition, repetition, repetition. And it's the fastest way to getting there. And why am I talking about this is because many of the people I'm speaking with are in sales, some sort. And we need to practice our craft. We need to practice our lines. We need to practice our product knowledge. We need to know what we're talking about and not seem as though this is just new to us. Our confidence makes our customers and our clients feel confident in us. Just think about your doctor. You don't want to be your doctor's first patient, right? No way, especially if you're going to have surgery. No way, no way. So the problem with repetition is that too many of us bail after the first bit of difficulty or the first bit of adversity. Think about the Harry Potter series. 13 times, I believe, before Harry Potter was published. And just look at all the fame there. It's just amazing. So don't accept failure. Be persistent, because we're all repeating something, but few persist. And we all have a negative self-talk track playing in our brain. It's always there. So, and there's enough people telling us that we're not good enough, or telling us things that that what we can't do. So why do we allow that to happen? Take that power away from them and give it back to ourselves. You know, it's a well-researched thought, or well-researched fact, that our thoughts influence our actions. So then why do we give into our negative self-talk? We just have to work around that and come up with ways to prevent that from happening. It's always going to happen. It happens to the best of the best. And the best thing to do is to create a set of your own affirmations or incantations. And I think we all know what affirmations are. It's, I'll give you one. Every day in every way, I'm feeling better and better. You know, Tony Robbins, that's one of his classics. Now that was an affirmation, but an incantation, which you want to do both, is when you're saying the same thing and you're moving your body around. What it does is that it helps you wire your brain with those thoughts so that they come naturally. You know, you just want them to come naturally and not have to think about them. So use the quiet moments when you're by yourself to reaffirm yourself. Say those affirmations, and if you can, do the incantations. Maybe a good friend of mine, Mark, he'll be in the gym when nobody is there, and he'll be doing his incantations, screaming out loud whatever he's trying to build self-confidence within himself about. It's funny, it cracks me up. Get away from people that are going to tear you down. You know, there's enough of that. We just don't need that. When we're working on big things and big dreams, we don't need people telling us that. Now, Muhammad Ali, maybe you know Muhammad Ali. I might be dating myself because I used to see him box, and he was one of the greatest boxers of all time. And he was known for saying, I am the greatest, and no one is better than me. And he would do this boxing thing. And he used to joke around with Howard Cosell all the time. And he'd say, Howard, I am the greatest. No one is better than me, and do this boxing motion. And although he was a humorous and fun-loving kind of guy, he was not saying this just to be braggadocious or to build up his ego or some sort of sense of false pride. He was doing that to remind himself, because there were enough competitors there that wanted to take him down. They wanted that, you know, that boxing world champion belt. So of course he needed to build himself up. Who else was going to do that but himself, right? So what we want to do is write a list of all the things that make you who you are. Keep this handy, because you're going to need it at times of self-doubt, because others are not going to be reminding you. And they're going to be there to tear you down, especially in the world where we have competition. It's just the way it is. There's only room at the top for one. So somebody's always going to be clamoring to get to that spot. So have that list handy of who you are, how you got there, what made you, what are you made of that made you get there? Write a letter to yourself, a brag letter, if you will, that congratulates you for all of the great things that you've done. I personally had to do that this last year. I mean, this was probably one of my most challenging years in all of my life, and I've had quite a few of them over my lifetime. But this one in particular rated up there quite high. But it's because I used this one particular skill that I kept just telling myself, right on, man, look at all the things you did, and you're still going on strong. And I'm not listing out all of those things. I don't want to do that here, but I really had to do that and had to work on myself all year long. So stop the negative self-talk. Find an anchor to remind you. I've got one here. I've got this little piece of jade that, I'm sorry, turquoise that I carry around with me. It's my anchor. I grab it, I have it in my pocket all the time, and I hold on to it and I squeeze it just as a reminder to myself to stop the negative self-talk and remind me of all the things that I'm working towards and the things that I want to accomplish, because it's just a reminder, it's just an anchor. Lance Armstrong, world-class bike racer. I don't know if that's the right way to say it. We all know who Lance Armstrong is, I presume. Well, he wore these bands around his wrist that said Live Strong, and this is before the Live Strong company was ever launched. And what he would do is take it off one wrist and put it on another one. And he would go back and forth and do that. And he did that when he was working on issues of self-confidence within himself. Those were his anchors, was to use those bands. So find out what works for you. Find your own way to remind yourself. And you know what? There are 2 ways to build self-confidence in others. So if you are a team leader, and this is what you want to do, ignore what's going on with them and find something to praise them about. And then praise them for the things that you want them to repeat. Okay, I'm going to say that again. Ignore what's going wrong and find something to praise them for, and then praise them for doing the things that you want them to repeat. And this works with children too. I have to say, I wish I had this advice when I was a very young parent, but it's something you learn, and it does work, and it has been proven that that works much better than pointing out the things that are not right. So and ironically, you'll get a laugh out of this. Self-confident people will interpret feedback the way that they choose. And the greatest salespeople of all time, this is awesome. You might have heard, I'll take 100 no's before I get a yes. Well, it's kind of the same concept, because it's how maybe the subject of no is interpreted, especially in the world of sales, is that, well, they said no to me today, but maybe not tomorrow, or it's not no for now and it's not no forever, especially in the world of sales and service, because the people may not need your product or your service now, but it doesn't mean that they won't buy your product or accept service from you sometime in the future. It's very rarely you that's the problem. And just to close, no one will believe in you unless you do. So look at all the people who just don't seem to fit in. It's like, are they fitting a round peg into a square hole? We've all heard those things. So we're all supposed to be different. So when people look at you, believe in yourself. So I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care now. Bye.